going on, everybody? Want to welcome y'all to the porch. Got up early this morning, had some things I had to take care of. I usually try to sleep in on Saturdays, but I'm fighting back tears right now. I'm not even gonna lie. I miss my dad immensely, but I'm gonna try to get through this next installment. Take a deep breath. Let me get my ghost on. Y'all remember the episode of Ghost when he left Angie and he was out there crying and he just like shook it off like, get myself together. But intercessory prayer is something that I wanted to talk about. Shortly after my dad passed, actually I can't remember if it was after he passed or if it was after the services and everything. I feel like it was after the services. And forgive me, y'all. I ain't gonna say forgive me. This is therapy for me right now. Like, this is therapy for me right now. Talking about it, talking about my feelings, releasing it, putting it out there, maybe it can help somebody else who's dealing with grief or who's going through things or who's even struggling with their spirituality and their beliefs and things of that nature. I just want to talk about it and get it out. I think a lot of times as people, we like to hide in the background and we like to keep secrets. And not saying that the whole world or that everybody needs to know everything that's going on with you or everything that you're going through. But some things are meant to be released, because just like you going through something and struggling with something, I guarantee you it's a lot of people that's going through and struggling with the same thing. It's like, I'm going to get off topic for a second. I was talking with my friend about how I love my children, but I don't enjoy parenting. Parenting is a responsibility. Parenting is a duty. Parenting is a job, because it requires a lot to raise productive, responsible children who become good citizens, who become followers of the Creator, who become, what they're supposed to be. It's a lot of work. And I don't like that aspect of parenting. I love my children immensely. Like, they are a gift. They are smart. They're funny. They're beautiful. They're amazing, but I don't like, having to discipline and having to teach and having to, whatever. Like, I'm a free flowing person. I like to let's just go and just see where the day takes us, right? But that doesn't work. That doesn't work really for life or raising children. If you want to be honest, it doesn't work. You have to have structure. You have to have discipline. You have to have certain things in place to be successful. And a lot of times I was feeling guilty, like, man, I hate parenting. I don't like this job. I don't like this task. And my sister sent me a whole thread on Reddit of parents who legit feel the same way. They love their children, but they do not like the task of parenting and sacrificing, putting yourself on the back burner, and it's okay. You don't have to like it. You just have to do it because it's the right thing to do. And it's what's required of you because you are a parent. So I'm going to leave that where it is. That's another topic for another day. But I believe it was shortly after the service. I was in the kitchen washing dishes. And I just finished cooking dinner. And mind you, I hadn't cooked since my dad went into the hospital on January 20th. So this was like almost a month later, because the services was on February 11th. And so I finished cooking and God spoke to me and was just like, I want you to go pray with your mother. I want you to go pray with your mother, pray for your mother. Let her know that I haven't abandoned her. Let her know that I'm here for her. Let her know that I haven't forgotten about her. And I'm just like, I ain't no preacher. Like, I ain't no intercessor. I ain't no, you know what I'm saying? Like, I look at myself as I'm a human being, who I don't I don't get caught up in those titles. You know what I'm saying? And look, I don't want the titles, to be honest. I feel like with those types of titles and duties and things comes a great responsibility. When you take it upon yourself to say, I'm a pastor, I'm a minister, I'm this, I'm that, you got to be able to live up to that. And not saying you have to be perfect or whatever, but you got to watch how you move. You shouldn't be out here claiming to be this and that or whatever, and I see you doing some stuff that's crazy, or behaving in a way that's crazy. And again, not saying that you have to be perfect, because nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. But I just think that when you take on the role of becoming a shepherd over people, that's a huge responsibility. And I don't want it. I don't want it. God would have to deal with me like I would have to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that he's called me to do that in order to take on that role. I don't want to be responsible for nobody else getting into heaven or hell on that level, or somebody. I don't want that. I don't want that. And so I always felt like, who am I? Who am I for God to use? I'm a human being, but he does use people, and he does use people who are willing. So I have to keep that in mind. I am a daughter of his, and I try to be obedient when he tells me to do something, and I do, seek to hear his voice. And so he's like, I want you to pray with your mom and let her know these things. So I was like, okay. So I went downstairs, and I'm like, Ma, this is weird for me. Just let you know right now. But I was upstairs washing the dishes, and I heard God say that he wants me to pray with you. And he wants me to let you know that he said he hasn't forgotten about you. He hasn't abandoned you. He hasn't left you, And, this is a time for you to discover him on a deeper level. I know you have to go through your grieving process. I don't know how long that's going to take, what that looks like, because this is 48 years with your best friend, 48 years with your soulmate, 48 years with the love of your life. And he's not here physically anymore. And so she just started crying and everything. And I just started praying with her. And I was repeating the things that God said. And prior to that, like shortly after my dad passed, I talked to my mentor, and she was like, I've been praying for your mom, especially because, I pray that this becomes a time where she can rediscover herself as a woman, because God still has need of her. That's why she's still here. And I was thinking about that. As I was praying for her, I was like, man, my mom has spent her whole life as a wife, a mom, a teacher, a part-time employee. And basically all those things are in service to others. Her whole life has been dedicated to being of service to others, and not really knowing what else is it that, she can do, or that she wants to do, or that she's capable of. And when I asked her the other day, I'm like, did you grow up wanting to be a wife and wanting to be this and that? She's like, the only thing I ever really wanted to be was a teacher. She's known she wanted to be a teacher since she was a child, and she became a teacher. And she was like, did I grow up like, oh, I want to be a wife? She's like, no, not really. She like, I always thought that I would have 2 boys and 2 girls as far as children. And so, but as I was praying with her, I was praying, that she rediscovers God, that she gets to know God in a whole nother way. I was praying that she gets to know herself in a whole nother way, that she gets to discover some things about herself as a woman. Because at the end of the day, like my song says, she's a woman before anything. And it's something beautiful about being able to rediscover yourself. I feel like I've been in that phase because who I was before I became a mom and got married, and, life things happen. I was somebody else. And I sometimes feel like I liked that person better, but I'm rediscovering myself again. I'm a very creative person by nature, and I love to write. I used to write so much, and I just stopped once life took over. And so I'm rediscovering myself in a whole new way as well, and getting to know God in a whole new way. And again, I'm not perfect. I'm still a mess in certain areas. I still have a lot of things that I have to work through and a lot of things that I have to correct and get together. So by no means am I saying that I got it all together. But I do want to let you know that if you're willing to be used, God will use you. God will use you. If you're willing to hear his voice, you will hear it, you know? And so after I prayed with her, she thanked me for the prayer and we hugged. And I just let her know, like, ma'am, I love you. I'm here for you. You know, whatever you need, I'm here. And a few days later, I get a text that my church is accepting new members for the Intercessory Prayer ministry. And I was like, this might be something, because I definitely felt an intercessor raising up on the inside of me while going through this process. You know, I was the one praying the hardest, and I ain't gonna say praying the hardest, but from what I saw, I was just in a different space compared to everybody else. Not taking anything away from anybody else, but I was in a different space. And so I signed up or whatever, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go check it out. I thought it was just like a little meeting to tell you about it and this, that, and the third or whatever. So anyway, the day rolls around. Oh, let me back up. So the night before, we had went to a performance for my daughter's high school at the old church. Now, I have 2 cars. I got 2 little cars or whatever. And the little black car that I drive, I was parking and I kept hearing something like pop, pop, pop. But I didn't think anything of it. And so, park the car. We go into the performance. We come out. I'm getting ready to leave. I start the car. I turn it to, get out. And it turned. And then when I backed up, I kind of tapped the car behind me. And I was like, oh, let me hurry up and, turn the car, whatever. So I turned the wheel back the other way to try to get out, and the car won't move. So first I'm thinking, oh, Lord, the transmission went out. Because that's what happened with my other car. So that wasn't the case. So I get out to check the car. The freaking front tire on the driver's side is like, it's like this. It came off the hinges. The tire rod is broken. I look under the car, the tire rod broken. I'm like, how the heck this happened? So I have to have my daughter, my 14-year-old, get in the driver's seat just to kind of turn the steering wheel so I could push the car off the car that's behind me. I didn't smash into the car or anything, but you know how people are about their cars. You don't want to be touching nobody's car or whatever. So I had her put it in neutral and steer the wheel so I could push the car up off that car. And so we got that done. So I'm just sitting there in the car I can't believe this. I'm just frustrated. And so I called. Normally I would call my dad. He's not here anymore. And I knew my husband was taking care of something or whatever. So I was going to get an Uber. But that was running $30, $40 or whatever. So I ended up calling my mom and my sister or whatever. And because they were together. So they ended up coming to get me and my daughter or whatever. And not saying my husband wouldn't have came if I would have called him or whatever. But I don't know. I'm weird like that. If I know somebody doing something or whatever, I don't want to disturb them. I knew my mama and my sister weren't doing nothing. So they came and they got me and my daughter and everything. So we had to leave the car. Get up the next morning. Mind you, the car had just gotten fixed. Something else had just gotten fixed on the car before my dad passed away. The battery and the hood thing. Some stuff or whatever. $600 worth of work. So I'm frustrated. So I'm like, here's more money. Got to get the car towed. Then got to see what's wrong with it. Then got to see what that costs. So go home. Go sleep. Next morning, wake up. And call the tow truck. I called one company. They're like, yeah, the tow truck drivers don't get here till 10 o'clock. It's a Saturday morning. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. Tow truck drivers should be at work by 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning. I'm sorry. But anyway, I'm like, okay, whatever. So I called roadside assistance to see who they could find for me. They ended up finding somebody. They like, okay, the tow truck driver will be here by this time. So I'm like, cool. My mom was like, I could take you over there to meet the tow truck driver and also take you to the intercessory prayer meeting. And my husband was outside trying to get my other car together because my tire, it needed some air or needed a new rim or something. So he goes out there and the car won't start. So I'm like, bruh, other car messed up. This car ain't starting. So he trying to charge up the battery, trying to get it jumped off or whatever. It's getting close to the time that I got to leave. My mom is trying to get out the back, but the rod or something is frozen, so she can't get the back gate open. I'm like, are you trying to, like, sabotage me? Like, are you trying to, like, get me worked up to the point that, because I don't even want to go to this meeting to see what it's about? I sit on the stairs in the hallway. I'm just frustrated. Like, okay, the car broke. This car won't start. She can't get out the back. I really don't want him to stop trying to get this car started, to take me over here because I want to get that car taken care of. So anyway, he ended up having to stop trying to get the car started to take me over to meet the tow truck driver. My energy is just all the way off. I'm just frustrated. I'm irritated. And, he's trying to talk to me and trying to, encourage me and things of that nature. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm just in a mood. I ain't trying to hear it. I ain't trying to, whatever. And so we get over there. Tow truck driver was supposed to be there by a certain time. He wasn't. He running 10 minutes late, then 20 minutes late. And I'm like, can you just take me over here to the church so I can go to this meeting and see what's to it? And he like, man, you got to get your energy together. Like, being frustrated and all this type of stuff is not going to help anything. And I'm knowing he right or whatever, but I'm just in a mood. And I'm like, I hear you, I hear you. And he drops me off, I walk inside, get inside. Hey, what's your name? Did you register? I'm like, yeah, what's your name or whatever. So tell them my name. They can't find my name. I'm like, bruh. I'm like feeling within me like I don't even want to be here right now. At this point, I just want to go home. So they're like, it's okay. We can just write it down. Write your name down, your email, whatever. So they write the information down. Go inside. They like, we set up a table for y'all. We don't have no table for y'all. This is a group that wasn't, apparently there's a lot of people whose registration didn't go through, whatever. So I'm sitting at the table. After they set the table up, I'm sitting at the table with a bunch of women. And it was interesting because I wanted to be at the table where I saw one of my spoken word ministry brothers there, and I wanted to be at the table with him. But he ended up being at a table with a bunch of women. And anybody that knows me knows that I don't really have a bunch of female friends. I have female associates and things of that nature, but I've never really connected with women. My mentality has always been a little different, I'll say. Some people will say it's masculine or whatever. Maybe it is. I don't know. But I never really connected with women. And then I know myself and my energy and my moods and things like that or whatever. I'm a lot to deal with. And so I can't deal with that from other people, So if that makes sense. I can't deal with like moodiness and like certain energy that frustrates me when dealing with it with other people. And then I have 3 daughters, who comes with different energies as well. And so, yeah, that ain't really my zhuzh. I've always connected with dudes. In high school, my friends were dudes. In elementary school, I think I may have had a few female friends. And like my early years in high school, I did have some female friends or whatever. But for the most part, the people that I have kept in contact with consistently from high school are guys. Anyway, end up at this table and sitting at the table and I'm just feeling away. Like, I don't want to be here. They got these little Danishes out for breakfast or whatever. I'm also a little salty too because I didn't get to stop at Dunkin' Donuts and get me my coffee and my, breakfast food that I like to eat or whatever. So they got coffee with no cream. And it's just like, whatever. I just grab a bottle of water, one of the little Danishes or whatever, which I don't really eat. Go back to the table, just sitting there. And I'm just fighting back tears. They start going around the table. Hey, what's your name? Ask anybody their name. And then they get to me because I wasn't going to say anything. They get to me and the lady tapped me. And I was like, I pull my mask down. Like, my name is Nicole. And I'm fighting back tears or whatever. And they continue to go around introducing themselves. And I got up from the table. And the tears just start coming. I'm getting ready to walk out. And my spoken word ministry brother sees me and he just grabs me and he just hugs me. And I just start bawling like a baby. Because I'm so frustrated. My dad is gone. I don't want to be here. I don't know why I'm here. And I'm just crying, man, for about a minute or two. And I just start kind of getting myself together. And we walk out into the hallway, and I'm like, man, I don't even know why I'm here. Like, I don't even want to be here. And he's like, well, you in the right place, you know? He like, I know it's fresh. You know, the service was just like a week ago. And, well, at that point, it might have been a few days ago. I don't know. It's all a blur. But he was like, you know, it's still fresh. He like, I understand. He like, but you're in the right place. You know, God got you here for a reason. And, you know, it's going to be okay. At some point, it's going to be okay or whatever. And I just told him, thank you. He gave me another hug or whatever. And he like, it's going to be okay or whatever. So I'm like, all right, let me go to the bathroom, get myself together. Walking down the hall to the bathroom. The tears is just coming again. And this lady's like, you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, my dad just passed away. And I'm just frustrated. And I don't know why I'm here. Like, I don't know why I'm here. I don't want to be here. And she's just like, and like, my dad was supposed to come home. We was praying for him to come home. He was supposed to come home. And she like, he did go home. She like, he didn't come back to the home that you wanted him to come to. But he did go home. He's with God. He's with the Creator. He's worshiping God. He's praising God. And she like, and he's still here with you. Like, he's still here with you. She like, you'll hear his voice. You'll hear. And I'm like, I do hear his voice. I do hear his voice talking to me, telling me, don't give up. Don't quit. Because I wanted to quit school when he died. Like, it was like my 3rd week of school or something. And I wanted to quit. And like, this is just too much. This is too much work. This is just too much. And I wanted to quit. And I heard his voice telling me, don't quit. Like, you worked too hard to get here. Go on and get finished. That's what he said. Go on and get finished. You know, you worked too hard to get here. And the program that I'm in is an 11-month program. And I know I would have been kicking myself if I would have quit. Because I'm done with the first part of it already. And I got 3 more semesters or whatever you want to call it left. I'll be done in November. I'll be graduating with my master's in teaching and licensed to teach in early childhood education. And so, but I hear his voice telling me don't quit. And the lady was just like, you know, sometimes we be praying for something and that's not God's will. You know, God's will was for him to come home. And she like, it'll get easier. You know, as time goes on, it'll get easier. She like, but you have to give yourself grace. She like, I hear my grandmother all the time. I be in my house cleaning. I just be hearing her talking to me and, you know, saying things to me and things like that. And it's just like, my dad definitely, like, I definitely hear his voice in times when I'm struggling or times when I hear the things that he used to tell me to encourage me and to keep me moving forward. I hear his voice so clearly. And so I thank the lady for sharing with me. And I get myself together and I go back into the meeting. And it turns out that it's the first training, the first step of the training for becoming an intercessor. And so I'm sitting there and he's talking about, you know, how if you can't hear from God, your prayers, you can't pray God's will. So basically your prayers are only as strong as your ability to hear from God. Because when we pray, we should pray God's will. And when we read scripture, we should be able to ponder the scripture and hear what God is saying to us through those scriptures and be able to pray those things back to him. And I remember my dad used to tell me about that. Like, we should memorize scriptures and be able to pray those scriptures back to God so that when things come up in our lives, we can say, hey, you said in your word X, Y, Z. Hey, your promise is X, Y, Z. You know, and so that hit home. And I was just learning a lot as we were going through different exercises and steps and things of that nature. And so they started talking about, okay, on March 25th, you're going to get a packet of stuff you need to study for our next meeting. And, you know, there's a list of books that y'all need to read and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, in my head, like, I'm in school. Like, I already got too much going on. Like, I'm taking 3 classes per session with a bunch of reading in every class, assignments due in every class. Like, I don't got time to read nothing else. I ain't gonna be able to read nothing else. This ain't for me. But I kept hearing that I'm supposed to be here. Kept hearing it, I kept feeling that I'm supposed to be here right now. Because the next time they're going to be accepting members will be a year from now. And so I stayed, and during the break, I asked the leader of the Intercessory Prayer Ministry, I was like, I've been struggling with the fact that this lady told me that I won and that the battle is not mine, as God's given to him. And I don't know what I won. I don't know what battle it is. And I was like, do you have any insight for that? He's like, I do. He was like, keep reading, keep praying. In God's time, he will reveal to you what it is that he meant by that. Give God time, because our time is not his time. He's like, in time it will be revealed to you. And he gave me a book called What to Do While You're Waiting. And somebody else blessed me with a book that we're supposed to read for the Intercessory Prayer Ministry. So long story short, I stayed. My spirit was blessed. I'm glad that I stayed. I got blessed with 2 books for free. And I let the women that were at the table with me, one of them started a group chat, and I just let them know, like, I just feel overwhelmed because I got a lot going on already, and they talking about we got to read all these books and we got to do this and we got to do that. Just pray that I stay grounded, that I'm able to sustain. And they was like, we got you. We got you. Don't worry about it. And we just kind of share our prayer requests and things in the group chat. But in all that, I can say that I'm where I'm supposed to be. And I guess things are unfolding in the way that they're supposed to unfold. And I'm looking forward to this journey. It ain't easy. It's not easy. Because, in my personal life, I'm going through some things. And when I get angry, I lash out at people. There's something that I'm working on. I lash out at those that's closest to me. That's something that I'm working on. And that's why I be feeling like, God, why me? Why are you trying to use me? Like, I'm a mess. I'm a mess. I'm trying to get stuff together and get myself together. But I'm realizing that not only do I have to do the work, but it's the work that he has to do in me as well. And so that's it. That's all I got. I was trying to think of some deep closing or whatever, but that's all I got. I'm on this journey, and I look forward to sharing some more with y'all in the next video. All right, I hope y'all have a great Saturday, a great weekend. Continue to press toward the mark. All my videos ain't gonna be about this, but this is where I'm at right now, and this is what I'm sharing. So hope it helps somebody, and hope it blesses somebody. All right, Cole's Porch.